Now in section 5.2, we are going to learn how to use matrices and how to solve system of linear equations one more time with different ways of solving it. We can do substitution, elimination, or matrices. Let's look at here section 5.2, problem number 48. It says, solve the system of linear equations using Gauss-Jordan elimination method. So we learn about Gauss-Jordan elimination method. You would have number 48, it says 2x1 minus h2 plus 3x3 equal minus 4. That's one equation. x1 minus 2h2 plus h3 equal minus 1. And the third equation, x1 minus 5h2 plus 2h3 equal minus 3. This is a system of three equations and three unknowns. The variables here are, again, x1, x2, and x3. Those are the variables you try to solve for. Using Gauss-Jordan method, and which uses matrices, what we do is we make a matrix which would have the coefficients of these variables, x1, h2, and h3, and the constant on the right-hand side. So here you would have 2 minus 1, 3, 1, minus 2, 1, 1, minus 5, and 2, and the constant minus 4, minus 1, and minus 3. The idea here, the way we solve for this system of equation, the idea would be to have all these numbers here to have 1, end up with 1, and everything else end up with 0. And when you do that, then the answer to the variable, to x1, whatever number you end up here would be x1, here would be h2, here would be h3. What we're going to do first, I can switch row 1 and row 2. So that automatically give me a 1 on the first row. I'm going to rewrite this. Row second, I'm going to write it first. 1 minus 2, 1, and then minus 1. 2 minus 1, 3 minus 4, 1 minus 5, 2, and minus 3. As you can see, I have 1 right here, and that's what I wanted to do. Now, I want to make this into a 0. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to subtract row 2 from 2 times row 1, and also subtract row 3 from row 1. And that's what I get. I get 0 here and I get 0 here. Let's do and see how it's going to look. To do that, again, first, R2 minus 2R1. That's going to give me, well, the first row would be the same, 1 minus 2, 1 minus 1. Now the second row is going to be 0, 3, 1, and minus 2. The third row is going to be 0, minus 3, and 1, and minus 2. Now you notice I have 2 zeros in the first column. I have 1 and then 2 zeros, which is what I wanted. The next step is that I want to make this 3 into a 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the second row by 1/3. So I'm going to get 1/3 of R2. The first row, I write it the way it is, 1 minus 2, 1 minus 1. Now everything in the second row is going to be multiplied by 1/3. So I get 0, I get 1, 1/3 minus 2/3, 0 minus 3, 1 minus 2. Now next, again, I want this to be 0 and this one to be 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have R1, that is row 1, plus 2 times R2, row 2, and then R3 plus 3 times R1. That's going to give me 1. For the row 1, it would be 1, and then 0, and then 5/3, and minus 7/3. My second row would be 0, 1, 1/3 minus 2/3. Nothing would happen to the second row. My third row is going to be 0, 0, 2, and minus 4. Okay. Now we need one more step, and that is to make this 2 into a 1. So what do? We get 1/2 of row 3. Everything remains the same. 1, 0, 5/3 minus 7/3, 0, 1, 1/3 minus 2/3. Now multiplying 1/2 by the third row, 0, 0. Now this one would be 1, and this one would be minus 2. Next step is to make this 5/3 into 0 and this 1, and this 1/3 into 0. The 1/3 into 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to say R1, the first row, minus 5/3 of the third row, and then R2 minus 1/3 of the third row also. When you do that, you're going to end up with 1, 0, 0, and then 1, you end up 0, 1, 0, and the constant now would be 0, and then 0, 0, 1, and minus 2. Now, this is the format we want to end up with. Now that we have this, we can say the answer is x1 is equal to 1, x2 is equal to 0, and x3 is equal to minus 2. This is the solution to the system of equation we had. I'm going to do one more problem from this section 5.2, and that is problem number 62, which is talking about investment club. It says the management of a private investment club has a fund of $200,000 earmarked for investment in stocks. To arrive at an acceptable overall level of risk, the stocks that management is considering have been classified into 3 categories: high risk, medium risk, and low risk. Management estimates that high risk stocks will have a rate of return of 15% per year, medium risk stocks 10% per year, and low risk stocks 6% per year. The investment in low risk stocks is to be twice the sum of the investment in stocks of the other 2 categories. If the investment goal is to have an average rate of return of 9% per year on the total investment, determine how much the club should invest in each type of stock. And here is the key: how much should be invested in each type of stock. So this way we can define our variable. Again, we are dealing with section 5.2, exercise number 62. So first thing, we're going to define variable x as number of high risk stock, y as number of medium risk stock, and z as number of low risk stocks. These are the variables. So 3 variables we need to solve for, therefore we need 3 equations. First, it tells you the total amount of money available is $200,000. So that would tell you x plus y plus z is equal to $200,000. That's number 1. Another information it tells you is that the return on the different stocks, 15% on high risk, 10% on medium, and 6% on low risk. So if I have 0.15x plus 0.10y plus 0.06z, it says this return on these stocks should give him 9% a year of the total investment. Since the total investment is $200,000, 9% of $200,000 is $18,000. So that equation, second equation, is talking about the return. First equation is talking about total money available. The second equation is talking about return. One more has to do with the distribution of the money. It tells you the investment in low risk stocks is to be twice the sum of the investment in stocks of the other 2 categories. The low risk starts, we show it with z. So it is telling you that z should be twice the amount of the other two, twice x plus y. So you have 3 equations and 3 unknowns. You can solve this. One way I can do this problem is using matrix, using Gauss-Jordan. I can use substitution any way I want to. But let's rearrange these and see if they look better. X plus y plus z should be equal to 200,000. That's from the first equation. The last equation would give me 2x plus 2y minus z should be equal to 0. And the last equation, 0.15x plus 0.10y plus 0.06 z should be equal to 18,000. Again, I can use Gauss-Jordan method or elimination method to solve for this problem. Any way would be fine. One way instead of matrices is I take the first and the second equation and add them up. That way I would be able to get rid of the z. So when I add them up, I would get between the first and the second one. So I would get 3x plus 3y. The z would cancel, should equal 200,000. Then between the first one and the third one, in order to eliminate z, I have to multiply the first one by a minus 0.06 and then add it up to the first one. So what I'm going to have, I'm going to write it down here. So this is one equation I'm going to need. And the other one would be multiply the first one by minus 0.06, which is the coefficient of z. So I get minus 0.06x minus 0.06y minus 0.06z equal to minus 0.06 times 200,000 is 12,000 minus 12,000. And equation number 3 is 0.15x plus 0.10y plus 0.06z equal 18,000. Now, if I add up these two, well, 0.06z and 0.06z would cancel. I have minus 0.06x and 0.15. That would give me 0.09x. Plus 0.10y minus 0.06y would give me a plus 0.04y equal to minus 12,000 and 18,000 plus would give me 6,000. Now I take this equation with this one, which is 3x plus 3y equal 200,000. Now it's a system of two equations and two unknowns. I can solve this. I can multiply this one by, let me see, I think this is 200,000. Let me not mistake. That's 200,000. What I can do, actually, I can solve for y from the second equation. So from second equation, I get 3y equal minus 3x plus 200,000. Therefore, y would be equal to minus x plus 200,000 divided by 3. That's y. Now, if I plug this y for this y in the first equation, then that's like eliminating y, and I would end up only with x. So which would be 0.09x plus 0.04 in place of y. Now I have minus x plus 200,000 divided by 3 equal 6,000. So 0.09x minus 0.04x plus 0.04 times 200,000 is 8,000 divided by 3 equal 6,000. Therefore, 0.05x equal 6,000 minus 8,000 divided by 3. Therefore, 0.05x equal to, the common denominator is 3. That would be 18,000 minus 8,000, so that is 10,000. Now to get rid of the coefficient of 0.05, if I multiply both sides by a 20, then 20 times 0.05x would be x, and 20 times 10,000 divided by 3 would be 200,000 divided by 3. Well, we just leave it 200,000 divided by 3. That's 6,666. So that is the value for x. Now, if I take this x and plug it into this equation here, I can find y. X was for high risk. So to find y, I plug it up there. Again, y was equal to minus x. Is that what it was? Yeah, minus x plus 200,000 divided by 3. Now in place of x, I'm going to put 200,000 divided by 3. So y would be minus 200,000 divided by 3 plus 200,000 divided by 3. Oh, that's interesting. Y would be equal to 0. Investment in y, medium risk stock, should be 0. And since x plus y plus z was equal to $200,000, then here means since x is 200,000 divided by 3 plus y is 0 plus z equal 200,000. That would mean, I have to write it up here. That would mean z, therefore, is equal to 400,000 divided by 3. Which, by the way, 200,000 divided by 3 is like, what is it? 66,666, something like this. And this one, z would be 130,000 $33,333. And of course, Y would be $0. These are all in dollar amount. So the amount invested in high risk should be $66,666. The amount invested in medium risk should be 0. And the amount invested in low risk should be $133,033.